Okay, so a couple other things, real quick. I would say two big ones. One, there was the Capcom Spotlight event, and they showed off some, stuff going on with Monster Hunter. Right?
They showed off nothing, man.
My takeaway was, hey, look, it's the Resident Evil Outbreak spinoff details or so. And
they showed fucking nothing, man.
Yeah, well, you're right, because those Costume 4 characters were wearing nothing.
Yeah.
They sure did show off nothing. You can see Cammy's fucking gyno info. Like, it's real slim. They know what the goon slot bucks are coming in hard and fast.
Okay.
And I tell you what, there's already been edits to Luke being like, why are these shorts not banana hammocks? It's crazy.
All right, so I have something brave to say about the Street Fighter Outfit 4s.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of bathing suit outfits are really cool when you're getting 10 costumes a year. When this is the only costume these characters are going to get for an entire year, if you're not playing a female character that you're desperate to goon on, or you're not playing a male character you're desperate to goon on, it's like kind of a wasted thing. Like, yeah, what are you gonna put Zangief in, guys? He wears a fucking like he wears shit all.
Sounds spoken like a fucking broke boy who don't want to spend money on the goon. the like, it is. I want those real costume fucking things to come through, but boy, is the money gonna be generated from Costume 4.
The only one of those costumes I think looks good is Jamie's. I think Jamie's costume looks by far the best.
I'm imagining it's like there's probably, again, the amount that you look at some of these characters, you're like, you can reveal even more on some of these dudes. Urien set a trend that
Uriem's basically naked.
He's basically naked, right? I just think that Costume 4 will pay for Costumes 5 through 10.
Okay, make them faster then.
Yeah, 100%. Get the team that's doing the World Tour assets to jump on board and fucking do it. Agreed. But yeah, that was it. And they showed off some more Pragmata and so on. And then that was followed up by the Arc System Works showcase.
Oh boy, I watched that live. That was so exciting.
Yes. I
was excited.
Okay, so there's like there's the bit, and then there's the reel, right?
Legitimately the worst direct I've seen in like 5 years.
Okay, so
not even joking, not even doing it, not doing a goof.
So not
doing a bit.
So the bit is as follows. Anytime you watch a live event and you're just like, what the fuck did I just spend my hour doing? Just picture me catching a dub. That's a Woolie. Woolie enjoying life. I'm on a beach sipping a margarita
instead of doing this.
Right?
I am
J. Cole, I am chilling. Every time you're like, what the fuck was that? Just think of me right here. All right? Okay. Second.
Oh man, I'm so glad. I just saw the exact comment I want to respond to. Yes, sorry, after you.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
So Jimmy Chams in the chat says, sucks when a company tries new shit, and the universal response is, ew, stop. So that is a very common response to this kind of thing, and I completely agree with you. However, very importantly, is that people weren't going, ew, stop, because that shit looked fire, but it was different. People went, ew, stop, because everything they showed looked like dog shit.
I was just going to this part of it. Okay, so then there's the reel, right? They showed off a couple of things that were legitimately, depending on what you're looking for, interesting and might be great games.
They showed off a visual novel for older Japanese women who can't read. That's
made by the people who made Hotel Dusk.
Weird idea.
Right?
I don't know why they're advertising to women who can't read. That was a really, really strange angle to pitch that game on.
Dear me, I was, right? I am also a fucking Bubble Bobble mark. I love Bubble Bobble. I have told many a times about how that was the game that my cousins had, and I had to fucking run and do chores and buy shit from the store and whatever to get more time on it because I fucking love that game. Bubble Bobble's great. So
I also like Bubble Bobble.
Yeah, right. You will never hear me talking shit about Bubble Bobble, Sugar Dungeons, or whatever. And then Daisuke Ishiwatari comes up, and then he says a very noble, understandable goal that is essentially in line with what we've been describing, with what we think games ought to be, which is, hey, we want to make quality mid-range action games. The industry has become very difficult, and we want to be able to move with the times and figure that out. So we're going to be trying out things that are not fighting games and trying to expand. Right?
And you're like, that's cool.
This is absolutely a reasonable, noble thing that ought to be done. Great. I applaud that. What's happening is you have the expectations of, everything that Arc is known for coming in, where they don't do themselves a favor. So you mentioned the quality part. I'm coming at it from a different angle. They showed off Tokon. So everybody's already got that in the
last thing they showed off.
That's already at the front of everyone's brain. Is you showed off the sickest looking fighting game announcement, right? You showed off some crazy shit and everyone's like, "Bah!" Right? Locked in for that. Then you have the thing that they ought to have done but they didn't do, which is, if you're not going to meet those expectations, you can tell people in advance, like Nintendo does with Not in This Direct. Nintendo will sometimes, literally before a direct comes out about something, they will tell you, it's not going to be about the Switch 2, and like straight up set your expectations. We have some shit we want to tell you about, but if you're waiting on the big megatons, that's not going to be this, right? That would have been a really good idea.
Ishiwatari project, but what it should have said is new Daisuke Ishiwatari project bracket, not a fighting game.
Right. And so this is the mistake you make by not being forward about that element, not reading the room on that. And then there's another factor to this with the disappointment that I feel, because this game, Damon and Baby, it might be good, right? It might be great. It might be a really fun game. I don't know. We'll see when it comes and drops. But there's something that I realize it happens specifically with fighting game fans as well, right? When you show a game that is not a fighting game during a time where fighting game fans are expecting to see one, there is a direct correlation between how disappointed people are and how zoomed out the camera is on the game you're showing.
Okay, so, dude, not just this, but this is something. We don't do the let's watch this together anymore, but I'm sure you remember me doing this. When you're showing a trailer and particularly an announcement trailer, it is the first taste. It is like the first bite is with your eyes.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
It is the first thing you're ever going to see. This is going to tone set it. So it is definitely the media person's responsibility to put out the most banger trailer or screenshot or whatever possible. And so when you load in to this super zoomed out Damon and Baby, and then it does that smash cut with tons of screens, and most of them are running like garbage,
15 frames per second,
and look super, super terrible as you're zooming away, it's like, this is the worst first impression you could possibly get.
So you're obviously,
it was like a trailer made bad on purpose.
You're obviously early in this game's life cycle, and you're showing it off to like prove it exists and kind of introduce the idea, but you're having those issues with it. And then you have that thing that, what we talk about at game show award shows and stuff, where you're like, a new mobile game of some kind with some characters that are doing some sort of magic with their weapons, and I can't see them because there are tiny little glowing things moving with a cursor around them, and I'm just like, can you get a close? Can I see the character? It drives me crazy when it's so fucking zoomed out the whole time, and like there might be an up close model at some point with a bull shot, but in some cases they're like, no, we're not going to show you that. Go download it in the fucking iOS store today. This
was also like right after they had a game. They had like a 5-minute thing where a guy came up and said, "This game's going to be really crazy," and then showed the logo and said, "Thank you."
Right. So yeah, you that was the Demon's Night Fever, embrace being evil,
like
which were like, we got an art style.
I feel like they didn't have enough to actually show, maybe. Like it seemed that way.
Well, when we take 5-10 minutes to spend on Double Dragon Revive, which has been I'm gonna go ahead and say yeah, probably. You know, we've been watching that one, and you're like, Double Dragon's such a amazing, hilarious franchise because it must the rules. Like, God himself has declared that Double Dragon must alternate between dog shit entry and banger, right? It has to ebb and flow, right? There must be a balance. And so we are currently on the flow part where, oh boy, do we have to watch a bunch of this Double Dragon Revive shit. You know, and you know, as there are we know some folks that are massive Double Dragon fans that might be very excited about this game. I can think of one. And you know, shout outs to you. But for the most part, yeah, you're filling out the time while people are going, where the fuck is Blaze Blue? Where the fuck is Tokon? Where the fuck is all the things I'm expecting to see? So when a new game comes out, if it's, for example, you show off, and it's not a fighting game, but you show off a brand new game and you see a really big, bold, strong, cool character design, and then it goes to third-person action, and then they start doing stuff. You go, okay, this looks cool, you know, but there's still a little bit of something. It's just not what you're looking for, but you're still getting a little bit of what you enjoy here, versus just the complete dot on a map and lighting effects are flying out and blowing up things and points are happening, which sucks because I definitely believe Daisuke could be cooking something cool, but let's not forget too that he was cooking Overture, and Overture was like the true Guilty Gear until it wasn't. You know, this is the real sequel. He was ahead of his time making a MOBA when nobody had a MOBA.
So here's the thing, right? It's like, hey, I'm going to make something that's not a fighting game. It's like, all right, wow me, because the last thing you made that wasn't a fighting game is one of the worst fucking pieces of shit I've ever played in my life, Daisuke.
He might be cooking.
Goody. Oh, this looks super cool.
Might be cooking. Let's wait and see. But like, hot on the expectations is not the time for it. Yeah, they should have just straight up told people, hey, not in this direct. You know, I hope they learn from that, and I hope they don't do these, right? Arc System Works Showcase is not an established thing like, you know, we're starting to see from all these other companies. So the absolute palpable disappointment from everybody, on top of a message which is good, which is we want to make, again, mid-range games. It sucks that gets diluted, because that's absolutely that's an effort worth being like, yeah, good shit. But don't fucking doing it like this, guys. Don't do it like this.
It says a lot, because I'm thinking about like, oh no, it's because they did a new thing and people don't want AA things. I'm like, well, I remember when Capcom showed off the trailer for Kunitsugami, which is a very clear AA weirdo game. It's like a fucking tower defense game in Japan that was one of Capcom's cheaper games, and people went, oh, that could be cool, because it showed well. And by the way, that game's great. Kunitsugami is incredible. And when people saw Damon and Baby out of any context, they went, not because it's new, but because that the trailer they showed looked like ass.
Yeah. No, I think this is a case of your marketing team and your outreachers, your all the people planning for this and how to announce this and how to tell people what to expect and what to show, and showing off something impressive. All of that failed, and that needs to be, you need to make a first impression, even if we support the idea behind why you're doing what you're doing, right? Like I said, the Hotel Dusk team making a visual novel is fucking sick. That's cool.
Why did they make a visual novel for people who can't read?
Okay.
like I keep saying it over and over, and no one is like, I've been saying that like every time I talk about this game, and no one is willing to engage with me on it. I don't know why. It's like, why are they making, like, it was so weird.
I mean, rotoscoping is cool. I think it looks pretty. And
Two Across asks, why do I keep saying that? It's because it's a game that has no text.
It has no text. It's all
It's a visual novel that has absolutely no text at all.
Yes, it's rotoscoping, and it's, I guess, an emotional silent story, which there can be awesome, compelling silent stories. In fact, there's a really good comic book collection of stories called Flight, which puts together a bunch of stories from artists from many years ago at this point. And there's a couple of those that are wordless and really, really cool. I like stuff that finds ways to be interesting while being, narratively putting a little like kind of weight on yourself like that, But this is just like, this is an interesting thing that would probably have gone over really well in the middle of a Nintendo Direct, right? That could have gone over really interestingly in a Nintendo Direct that's been going between a couple of cozy games and then the latest Donkey Kong Bonanza amiibo. You'd be like, hey, check out this new interesting visual novel. If you played Hotel Dusk back in the day, you might be like, oh yeah,
this isn't a visual
cool.
novel. They can't call it that.
Okay, well, it is.
They're not allowed.
It is a.
There's no words. It can't be a novel.
It is a visual.
It's a visual.
It's a visual story. It is a visual tale. Anyway, so yeah, that's the issue, right? With it. Set the expectations of the audience.
It's a picture book.
Pop up.
Yeah.